Okay, we have water here. So I'm just reading and not saying any Jaya, some Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We can say Om Namo Bhagavate. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, this is part 1. Swamiji's departure, is that what you're reading?
Yeah, Summer of Love.
The Summer of Love, that's what it's called, the chapter? No.
1967.
Alright. Ah, India Revisited, that's the chapter. Okay. India Revisited. So Prabhupada had just left USA to go, and he has gone back to India for health recuperation. Is that right? Right? Yeah. Alright. Thank you, Prabhu. So I'm a little sick, so I keep, my nose is leaking a lot. So please forgive me. So Prabhupada stayed in his old rooms at the Radha Damodar temple. Anyone been here? There? Everyone has been to Prabhupada's rooms? In Vrindavan, Radha Damodar temple. Yeah, you started there? You were there with Prabhupada?
No, English is not a natural language. If you could speak a little slow.
Yeah, okay, nice. I don't mind at all. Easier for me.
For our pleasure, who are you, Prabhu?
Okay, my name is Gaura Bhagavan Das. I'm originally from Iceland. English is not my first language, but because I've been so long in ISKCON, it has become my first language, kind of. Yeah. Yes. You want to know something else about me? No. Yes. I joined ISKCON in 1990 in Germany, and right now me and my wife here trying to establish at the first ISKCON center in Iceland. That's where we live. That's fine. Yeah, that's a short summary. There's my good wife there, Dayarupa Devitasi.
What is the page?
This is page number 722. Yeah. Okay. So Prabhupada stayed in his old rooms at the Radha Damodara temple. Still incapacitated, he was being massaged and cared for by Kirtanananda, who himself was listless and tired from the heat. You know what listless means? No. Listless. Actually, the reason I understand this word because it's the same word as an Icelandic. List means to have appetite. So without appetite. So when it's very, 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 very hot, like in that time in Vrindavan, someone from a cold climate will lose his appetite easily. Okay, so he was listless. We say in Icelandic matarlist. It's like appetite for food. But Prabhupada continued to range from one active and ambitious vision for his youthful Krishna consciousness movement to another. So Prabhupada was sick, but he was still full of passion for his ISKCON and was developing. Prabhupada said he could not think small, he could only think big. So he was only thinking of how to expand the movement further. He would think aloud about the volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam ready to be published. If Macmillan would take them and the boys could act on his behalf. There was so much to do. He wanted to return by October and oversee things personally. Temperatures rose to more than 110 degrees. Can someone translate it into Celsius? 110? This is
43.3 degrees.
okay, so over 43 degrees. How hot does it get here? How hot does it get here? Like 40 something? Yeah.
Wow.
How down does it go in Iceland?
Oh, how hot or cold?
How down?
Oh, maybe minus 20.
Oh,
Probably same like. How cold does it get here?
-1.
Minus 1, yeah. So it's a nice place. Yeah.
Iceland.
Yeah, in some parts. Not in Reykjavik though. Reykjavik usually not more than minus 10, but other parts sometimes more than minus 20.
The temple is in Reykjavik.
Yes, I mean our place. Yeah, don't have to. Oh, thank you very much. Just wondering. Hope it will be enough. And Prabhupada and Kirtanananda had to stay inside with the doors shut and the overhead fan on. This is before AZ came to India. Although Kirtanananda could barely perform his duties, Prabhupada found the heat bracing and said that it was restoring his health. Bracing, like embracing, or supporting. Then, after the first week, the monsoon rains began and the heat broke. On August 10th, Kirtanananda wrote home again. God, it is a hot place. But at last the rains have started again and there is some relief from the heat. You can believe me when I say it was hot. But now it is raining a great deal of the time. And that has made the weather quite comfortable for me. But unfortunately, not for Swamiji. Also, I have developed the inevitable case of dysentery, which has been persisting for about a week now. Yesterday began the festival of Julan, in which Radha and Krishna come out and swing for about 5 days. So I made the rounds of about a half dozen temples here. Some of them are extremely beautiful inside, although most are small. Still, I can say this with all truthfulness and sincerity, that none are so transcendently beautiful and spiritual as 3720 Park Avenue, Montreal. And I think even Swamiji would agree with me there. Kirtanananda, his letter, gave heart to the devotees back home and confirmed their suspicion. It was not Hinduism, not India. It was Swamiji and chanting Hare Krishna that was sustaining their spiritual life. Interesting. As Prabhupada's spiritual children wrote from the fledgling centers in half a dozen cities in North America, he would reply, Vrindavan is an inspiration only, but our real field work is all over the world. Interesting. You repeat that. Vrindavan is an inspiration only, but our real field work is all over the world. Even if I die, you are my future hopes, and you will do it. I am feeling very much for you all. Please let the ball roll on, just as it is set. Brahmananda wrote from New York, asking for an explanation of why Swamiji, a pure devotee, was suffering serious illness. Swamiji had explained that conditioned souls and even beginning devotees are attacked by Maya. But was Swamiji also being attacked by Maya? On August 14th, Srila Prabhupada replied, "Don't be afraid of my being attacked by Maya. When there is fight between two belligerent parties, it is always expected that there will sometimes be reverses. Your country and the Western world is mostly under the grip of Maya and the modes of nature in passion and ignorance. And my declaration of war against the Maya is certainly a great battle. Maya saw me very successful within 1 year, so that I got so many sincere young followers like yourself and others. So it was a great defeat to the activities of Maya. Western country youngsters giving up illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating and gambling is certainly a great reverse in the activities of Maya. Therefore, she took advantage of my old age, weakness, and gave me a death dash. But Krishna saved me. Therefore, we should thank more Krishna than eulogize Maya. So far as my present health is concerned, I think I am improving. At least I am taking lunch better than in New York. So, as soon as I am a little fit to return to the field of battle, I shall again be in your midst. In your midst, along, along, you understand? In between you, yeah? With you. Srila Prabhupada envisioned an American house, a place where resident disciples could study Sanskrit and Vaishnava literature in Vrindavana. When he had suffered his stroke, he had said that Raya Rama should finish the translation of the Bhagavatam. Interesting. He had also requested Achyutananda, Gaura Sundara, and others to learn Sanskrit, Bengali, and Hindi, so that if he did not recover, they could carry on his work. And he hoped that some of his leading men, like Brahmananda, Hayagriva, and Raya Rama, would come to India, obtain property, and establish his American house. Even if I am well, he wrote on September 9th, it is not possible for me to look after the affairs of the American house. Prabhupada decided to ask one of his godbrothers, Swami B.H. Bon Maharaj, to accommodate some students from America at his Institute of Oriental Philosophy. Swami Bon Maharaj's institute was a provincial college of about 300 students located in Vrindavana and affiliated with Agra University. It was what is known in India as a degree college, an institution geared towards improving the economic condition of its graduates by making them eligible for better jobs. When Srila Prabhupada and Kirtan Ananda visited Swami Bon Maharaj at the Institute of Oriental Philosophy, Swami Bon received them in a clean parlor furnished with chairs, couches, and a radio. Swami Bon, wearing leather slippers, shorts visible through his thin dhoti. Shorts means like the Western type of underwear, and an ironed shirt with brass studs, appeared suave and sophisticated. Is suave a French word? Suave?
Sophisticated.
Suave, suave. So
Yes. Oh,
that's it.
yes.
Yeah. What does it mean in French? Suave. Stylish?
Yes.
Yeah, stylish. An educated man with straight, neatly parted graying hair. Although a resident of Vrindavana in the 1930s, he had spent several years in England, where he had been received by members of the royal family and had lectured at a number of colleges. But he had aroused no lasting interest. When Prabhupada had been struggling alone in New York City in 1965, he had written to Swami Bon asking for help, but Swami Bon had not responded. Even now, as Prabhupada told him of the work in America, Bon Maharaj did not have much to say. But he was interested in the prospect of Americans coming to live and study at his institute. Foreign students would enhance the prestige of the institute in the eyes of the government. He said the students could possibly be accommodated free of charge. Watch out, huh? Encouraged by the meeting with Bon Maharaj, Prabhupada wrote several letters to his disciples, inviting them to come and study Sanskrit. Prabhupada's letter. If you want to learn Sanskrit, there is ample opportunity in this institute. We had some preliminary talks, and it is hopeful that Swami Bon can give us some land for our own building. But even so, arrangements can be made with the existing facilities so that there would be no difficulty for the students who come here to study Sanskrit and the Goswami literature. It is a good opportunity for our students, and I shall be very glad to learn how many of you desire to come. On Janmashtami Day, August 28, Srila Prabhupada awarded the Order of Sannyas to Kirtan Ananda in a ceremony in the Radha Damodara temple. Kirtan Ananda thus became Srila Prabhupada's first disciple to become a sannyasi. Kirtan Ananda Swami. During the initiation, hundreds of visitors were present observing the birthday of Lord Krishna, and many of them came by to congratulate the young sannyasi. Someone said he looked like Lord Chaitanya. Srila Prabhupada wrote, "He will be going back to the States very soon to begin preaching work with greater vigor and success. In the meantime, I shall try to utilize this white sannyasi for recruiting some members in India." Early in September, Achyut Ananda arrived in Delhi. A Hindu lady gave him 5 rupees, and he took the train to Mathura, where he got directions to the Keshavaji Gaudiya Math. Narayan Maharaj, a friend of Prabhupada's, took Achyutananda under his care, and after showing him the hall where Prabhupada had taken sannyas in 1959, put him on a bus to Vrindavana with an old gentleman for an escort. Accompanied by this escort, Achyutananda arrived by rickshaw before the Radha Damodara temple. Achyutananda walked into Prabhupada's room and fell prostrate at his feet. "Oh," Prabhupada said, "you are here." When Achyutananda looked up, he saw that Swamiji had a 5-day beard and was wearing only one piece of cloth wrapped around his waist from behind, crossed over his chest and tied behind his neck. You know how you take one cloth and you put like this? Prabhupada smiled, apparently in good health. Kirtanananda Swami also greeted Achyutananda and showed him his new danda. For Achyutananda, the most wonderful thing about Swamiji in Vrindavana was the simplicity of his life. Although in New York, Swamiji had worn simple robes, he had always been regal, a guru, but here he lived very simply and humbly. Once, when he sat down on the veranda outside his room to wash his hands, his body instantly became covered with flies. Kirtanananda and Achyutananda were always being bothered by the flies. This was the rainy season, but Prabhupada scarcely noticed them and sat quietly washing his hands. Kirtan Ananda and Achyut Ananda agreed that Swamiji wasn't just another Vrindavan Babaji. There was no one else like him. Thank you. Certainly, Gaura Chand Goswami, proprietor of the Radha Damodar temple, wasn't like Swamiji. He wore thick glasses and could barely see. And when Kirtanananda and Achyutananda went before the deities in the temple, Gaura Chand Goswami asked them loudly, it's a funny story, "So, how do you like them? Which one do you like the best?" So in Radha Damodar you have three sets of Radha Krishna deities. I think it's explained here. Yeah. So they combined a few temples into one. So they have a few sets of Radha Krishna deities that will be explained. That's why he's asking, which one of the set do you like the best? I like them all, said Achyutananda. I like that big one on the end there, said the priest, pointing in an offhand manner at the deity of Krishna. It looks a bit like General Chaudhry.
General?
Chaudhry? There's some Indian celebrity, I think. Chaudhry. You can Google General Chaudhry if you want. The Swami's boys exchange looks. What kind of guys are these? And went back to Swamiji for an explanation. Prabhupada explained, they are caste Goswamis. The original Goswamis, such as Jiva Goswami, who established the Radha Damodara temple, had engaged householders to worship the deities. And these caste Goswamis were descendants of those first householder pujaris. Prabhupada explained that the caste Goswamis were the proprietors of the temples, and that they maintained the temples and ran the deity worship as a business to support their families. Several years ago, each of the deities now on the altar had their own temple, land, income, and priests. But for economy, the Goswamis had sold the property, reduced the opulence of the worship, and amalgamated the deities. There were many other interesting characters. The old widow Sarajini, with bald head and sika, and calloused bare feet, who slept in a room by the gate of the temple, and swept Swamiji's kitchen and washed his clothes. Panchudas Goswami, the temple proprietor's son, who always chewed pan and went around sleepy-eyed in a silk dhoti with a red embroidered border. The dark old Babaji, who came at night, who was constantly laughing, and who made sandalwood paste for Swamiji. The local herbal doctor, Vanamali Kaviraj, who presided, brightly smiling, from behind a desk in a tiny chamber filled from ceiling to floor with little bottles. And a famous Pandit who visited Swamiji and wore a gold linked tulasi necklace and diamond rings. All of these persons were devotees, residents of holy Vrindavana, but no one was like Swamiji. Kirtanananda Swami even became disappointed that no one else in Vrindavana was like Swamiji. In the land where everyone was an Indian and everyone was a devotee, Swamiji was still unique. This is one of my favorites, statement in the whole Lilamrita. No one else was so simple, so grave, so able to penetrate through falsity, so attractive to the heart, and so absolutely attached to Krishna. No one else could lead them. So this is actually very, like I say, for me, the reason why I find it so interesting, because when I read this for the first time, I was like, wow, they experienced that in that time. They came back thinking that Vrindavan was full of Prabhupads, other Prabhupads, like sadhus like Prabhupada, who were like that, as attractive, exalted, but they found that Prabhupada, even among the people there, he was very unique. One time there was an astrologer in Vrindavan, I forgot his name, the first person who did my chart, but he had been a young boy when Prabhupada was living in Vrindavan, and he said to me, he would go to his Prabhupada's room and pray to Prabhupada's soul, he said. Because he said Prabhupada was not an ordinary man. He was like, he said something, he was like a demigod for him. He was saying Prabhupada was so powerful. It was such a, it was very apparent to him that Prabhupada was not, he was like an empowered, representative, an empowered representative of Krishna. If Kirtanananda Swami and Achyutananda were doubtful about some of the residents of Vrindavana, some of the residents of Vrindavana were also doubtful about them. When a European hippie couple wandered into Vrindavana one day, Achyutananda accompanied them to some of the temples. But at the Ranganath temple, they were refused entry. Achyutananda told Prabhupada, who replied, "That's because you went with those fools." That is because you went with those fools. How do you say fool in French? Ignorance. Actually, it's the only temple in Vrindavan where they don't allow Westerners. But maybe Achyutananda could have gotten in. Maybe he was.
It means some hippies were.
Sorry?
At this time, some hippies were visiting as tourists Vrindavan, Mathura, all these places.
Yeah, at that time, yeah. Yeah, Westerners would visit India, like young Westerners would do that, but not so many as today. Because like hippies were already at that time interested in Eastern mysticism, so they would go to India looking for a guru, or to get inexpensive marijuana or something like that. It's a big attraction for some. When Prabhupada walked in the streets, people regularly nodded to him with respect, saying, "Dandavad, Maharaj." But they were cautious about accepting his American followers as Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, accompanied by his two disciples, again visited Swami Bon. Writing to Swami Bon's institute by rickshaw, Prabhupada told Achyutananda that Swami Bon had started the institute as an academy of Vaishnava studies, but had affiliated with Agra University because the institute had not been bringing in any money. Now, Swami Bon had money, but the institute had become an ordinary school, devoid of spiritual value. As Srila Prabhupada and his disciples sat in Swami Bon's parlor, Bon Maharaj made it clear that although he would not donate land for Prabhupada's American house, Prabhupada's students could come and study at his institution. Achyutananda, he suggested, could be the first one. Swami Bon then took them to the main building to visit a class in session. Instead of seeing pandits and brahmacharis studying Sanskrit as they had expected, Prabhupada's disciples saw boys with thin mustaches and giggling girls. Prabhupada lectured and then asked Kirtanananda to play the Hare Krishna record. After a few minutes, Bon Maharaj told Kirtanananda to stop the record. But Kirtanananda, seeing Swamiji enjoying the record, let it play. Achyutananda: "We walked around the place and I thought, this is just a mundane school. I don't want to go here. If I could learn Sanskrit and live at the Radha Damodar temple, then I could have a nice time in India. They continued their tour of the facilities, and after seeing the dormitory, Prabhupada doubted whether his American disciples could endure of the austerity of the academic studies. It seemed that one of the two boys was always sick. First, Kirtanananda Swami had gotten dysentery. Then something had been wrong with Achyutananda's stomach. Then they had both been exhausted from the heat. On the whole, Srila Prabhupada wrote to Rupanuga in New York, the American boys who come here become first depressed, so I do not know how far our American house in Vrindavan will be successful. His boys were not particularly studious or austere. Besides, both Kirtan Ananda Swami and Achyut Ananda had developed a definite dislike for the rector of the Institute of Oriental Philosophy, Bon Maharaj. They didn't like him. And Srila Prabhupada obviously had reservations about the place. You can go and study there, Prabhupada told them, but don't live there. Live at the Radha Damodar temple and go. You can get a bicycle and go there. Gradually, the idea of immediately acquiring an American house in Vrindavana began to dwindle. Prabhupada needed his own place for his disciples, and that would take time. I read till 9 o'clock? How long do I read? With regular medication, massages and rest, and the heat of Vrindavana, Prabhupada felt himself recovering. By mid-September, he declared himself 90% fit to return to the United States. He predicted that he would be back there by the end of October. B.R. Sridhar Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, whose ashrama was in Navadvipa, West Bengal, wrote to invite Prabhupada to spend the month of Kartik with him at the ashrama and join him for his Vyasa Puja celebration. Srila Prabhupada liked the idea of going to the holy land of Navadvipa, where Lord Chaitanya had spent his early years, and seeing his godbrother. He also wanted to visit Delhi again and inquire about printing his books. Swamiji, Achyutananda asked, when you go to Navadvipa, am I supposed to stay here in Vrindavana and study? Don't you want to see the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya? Prabhupada asked. Achyutananda did, and Prabhupada, Kirtanananda Swami and Achyutananda left Vrindavana together and returned to the Chipinvada temple in Delhi. For Prabhupada's two disciples, life at the Chipinvada temple was hard. Delhi was blazing hot and lacked the charm of Vrindavana. There was water for only 2 hours a day, early in the morning, and that only a slow trickle. They would fill 2 clay jugs for Prabhupada's room and several buckets for his bath and their own, and then there would be no more water for the rest of the day. A mongoose ran freely through the building. Do they eat snakes? Achyutananda asked. They eat snakes, said Srila Prabhupada. They eat garbage, they eat anything. Prabhupada, who regarded the heat, the lack of water, and even the mongoose as normal, was undisturbed. Several young Indian musicians in the adjacent room regularly played cinema music on their electric organ, bongo drums, and electric guitars, rehearsing for a dance. Prabhupada tolerated it. Sri Krishna Pandit praised Prabhupada's work in America and his English translation of Srimad Bhagavatam. I think he was a publisher, Prabhupada's publisher in Delhi, Sri Krishna Pandit. As manager of the Chippenvada Radha Krishna temple and secretary of an active Hinduism society, that's him. Sri Krishna Pandit was interested in spreading Hindu dharma, and therefore he wanted Prabhupada to speak at the nearby Gauri Shankara temple, one of Delhi's most popular Hindu temples. Prabhupada agreed to go and take with him Achyutananda. Kirtananda Swami had already left for the West on August 22nd. Interesting. The Gauri Shankara temple was on Chandi Chowk. After a short walk through some of the busiest, most congested streets of Old Delhi, Prabhupada and Achyutananda removed their shoes at the door and entered the temple. The main deity was Lord Shiva, but there were many others: Rama, Durga, Kali, Radha Krishna, and Hanuman. The crowds stood before the elaborate altars, viewing and petitioning the various deities. Achyutananda had learned about demigod worship from Prabhupada at 26 Second Avenue. According to Bhagavad Gita, demigods fulfill only material desires and are therefore worshipped by the less intelligent. A Vaishnava, Prabhupada has said, respects the demigods. In fact, he respects all living beings, even the ant. But he worships only the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu. Achyutananda had already been seen firsthand that impersonalists were misleading Indians to disavow the personal form of God and accept all methods of worship as equal. Most Indians had no clear understanding of Bhagavad Gita or Krishna. Achyutananda kept this in mind as Prabhupada had led him in bowing down before a few of the demigods' altars. Then Prabhupada brought him before the deity of Radha Krishna. Just see, Prabhupada said, Krishna is just playing his flute. As for the demigods, someone is holding bows and arrows, someone is holding clubs, someone is holding weapons. But Radha and Krishna are just dancing, and Krishna is holding a flute. So he is the Supreme Lord. Because he is only enjoying, he's not doing any work. In one large room, a heavy-set man with a great white beard and wearing flower garlands sat on several pillows. Many people stood staring at him. He reminded Achyutananda of Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Huh? How you say in French?
Père Noël.
Huh?
Père Noël, Father Christmas.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay, Father Christmas. Swamiji, who is that? Achyutananda asked. Some yogi, Prabhupada replied indifferently. The main lecture hall had a large painting of Lord Shiva on the wall and was crowded with people. Women in colored saris and many of the men in bright turbans. Amid such a welter of rituals and worshippers, Achyutananda felt protected by Swamiji. They sat on the dais, and Sri Krishna Pandit introduced his friend Bhaktivedanta Swami to the crowd. Srila Prabhupada spoke in Hindi for about an hour. Walking back to Chipinvada, Achyutananda wondered why Swamiji had gone to speak at a place with such hodgepodge worship. But without his asking, it occurred to him that Swamiji was willing to speak about Krishna anywhere to anyone. Hadn't he come to New York City? And what could be more hodgepodge place than New York's Lower East Side? Sitting on the veranda outside his room, Prabhupada could see the huge domes of the Jama Mosque in the early evening sky. One evening, as Prabhupada sat softly chanting japa, and as Achyutananda, who had not yet memorized the Gayatri Mantra, sat nearby reading it to himself. So he's reading the Gayatri Mantra on a piece of paper. A Hindu gentleman came and conversed with Prabhupada. Achyutananda soon finished the Gayatri Mantra and sat listening to his spiritual master talk in Hindi to the unknown gentleman. Achyutananda could catch only a few words here or there, some mention of Ayurvedic medicine, addresses, Indian names, cities. They talked for hours, and Achyutananda wondered who this man was who could speak so long with Swamiji. When the man left, Achyutananda asked, Swamiji, was he your godbrother? Prabhupada said, no. Is he a Swami? Prabhupada said, no. Is he one of your relatives? No. Well, who was he? He is my friend. Prabhupada answered emphatically. He is my friend. Sometimes Prabhupada's visitors would bring donations of cloth or fruits or even complete cooked meals in metal tiffins. One visitor, a middle-aged woman who had heard Prabhupada speak at the Gauri Shankara temple, came to Prabhupada's office in Chipinvada requesting initiation. Prabhupada spoke with her, agreed, and had Achyutananda prepare a small fire sacrifice. At her initiation, he gave her the name Mukunda Dasi. She came daily to clean Prabhupada's room, and when she saw that his wooden peg sandals were broken, she brought him new ones. Chandrasekhar had known Prabhupada for several years and was supposed to have been his secretary. But he was a drunkard.
What?
Chandrasekhar is not the disciple. Drunkard.
Oh, drunkard. Okay.
alcoholic. Yeah. Prabhupada suspected him of having stolen from his mailbox some more than 2,000 rupees during the past 2 years. Okay, so this seems to be someone who was, when Prabhupada was in America, he was receiving his mail, and like his secretary in India. Prabhupada's Chippenvada address was listed in his magazines and books, and people had been sending money for books and Back to Godhead subscriptions. Even in the past 2 months, Prabhupada's disciples had written that they were enclosing money in their letters, but Prabhupada never found any. One day he caught sight of Chandrasekhar in the building and asked him, "Where is my mailbox key?" "I believe you have it," Chandrasekhar replied. "Or maybe Sri Krishna Pandit has it." Chandrasekhar was drunk. So I didn't act drunk when I said this. Swamiji Achyutananda said angrily, "Maybe we should make a police case." Prabhupada shook his case. "No." "Well," Achyutananda said, "if he is not punished by the law, then in his next birth Krishna will punish him." "That's true," Prabhupada agreed. Chandrasekhar looked fearfully from Prabhupada to his American disciple. "Then there's only one thing to do," Achyutananda said. "Shall I call the police?" "No," said Prabhupada. "I will forgive him." Yet only a few days later, Prabhupada record player disappeared, and Prabhupada suspected the drunkard Chandrasekhar. It's actually 9 o'clock. No. If you want, I can finish this section. Is that okay, or should I just stop? Okay. Prabhupada brought Achyutananda with him to his bank, the Bank of Baroda, to exchange some American currency. As they were about to enter the door, the guard refused them entry, thinking they were sadhus come to beg. Prabhupada was angry. He spoke loudly in Hindi to the guard, an old man with a shotgun, a big strap of bullets, and a shabby semi-official uniform. "I have an account here," Prabhupada protested. Finally, the guard allowed them to enter. Prabhupada went straight to the manager and complained. "Do you think," Prabhupada said, "because I'm a sadhu, I am to be regarded as a beggar?" Prabhupada told the man of his organization in America and his account in the Bank of Baroda. The manager apologized and reprimanded the guard. One day, Prabhupada sent Achyutananda to a certain restaurant. "If you want to see varieties of Indian food," Prabhupada said, "tell the man you want 10 rupees of sweets and 10 rupees of salty preparations. That is called mishti and nimaka." So namki, right? Namki is also sweet. Nimaka, namki, yeah. "And just see the varieties." Achyutananda was sick and couldn't imagine eating a lot of sweets, but he stopped by the restaurant and looked. When he returned to the temple at Chippenvada, he told Prabhupada that he had seen the food, although he couldn't eat it. "Yes, but just see the varieties," Prabhupada concluded, and he explained how Krishna consciousness was personal and full of varieties, not dry. Another American disciple called joined Prabhupada, Ram Anuja, from Hay, Asbury. He had been initiated just before Prabhupada left San Francisco, and he spotted a full black beard. He sported a full black beard. Prabhupada didn't like the beard, cautiously and indirectly he mentioned it, but Ramanuja's beard stayed. Ramanuja carried a book about Tibetan Buddhism, and he didn't seem fixed in Krishna consciousness philosophy. But there he was, one of the looser, sentimental San Francisco devotees, ready for Indian adventures with Swamiji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So much nectar.
Nice reading, clear.
Yeah, thank you. Just for you. Just for you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada would say about this topic that Indians were all of Indians are close to the doors of the spiritual world,
Yeah.
but they are going astray from it.
Yeah, I'll say, yeah.
Yeah, they go away. Whilst Westerners are very far from the spiritual doors, but they are aiming at it.
They what?
Aiming at it.
Aiming at it, yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's actually, I think, like, my late realization is that we have to, when Indians come to the West and still have some Vaishnavism, we should definitely help them, retain it, because see how much work it took us to acquire this culture. It took us years to acquire this culture. They already have the culture. Some of them are already kind of Vaishnavas, but being in the West, they're going to lose that also because of bad association. So, yeah. So we should definitely help them if they come, while also preaching to the Westerners, of course.
You have Indian congregation in Iceland?
Yeah, we do actually. Kind of.
Not a congregation.
Not in congregation, but they're like friends, but some of them are quite pious, and some of them, like one section are actually Vaishnavas. They really like Krishna, reading the Gita and like that.
They're new Indians just come recently.
New arrivals.
New arrivals, yeah.
And you came recently also?
Recently,
So you went recently to
7
Iceland?
years.
no, 7 years ago I moved there.
7 years.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's an adventure?
Yes, Krishna is providing adventures. Yes, yeah, he's helping us.
Yeah.
So every day, every month, there's Krishna makes some miracle happen. So we keep going, trying to do, preach there. We are just two of us. Sometimes we have help, devotees visiting or but we are the only consistent people, two devotees there.
We see also Prabhupada was really different from also Babaji in Vrindavan and the disciples, the detective.
Yeah,
Because all the temple were crumbling in ruins little by little. Pujari not so straight. The standard of the deity is very poor. They were very poor. It's like India at the beginning, it's poverty-stricken country.
Yeah.
And Prabhupada, his way of teaching and putting nice picture in the books, making them attractive, deity washing, making it attractive, it was really a revolution.
yeah,
Even in the land of Vrindavan, so the Vrajbasi at first they were thinking these American English monkeys or American monkeys. But after some time it changed, they accepted it, and the standard lifted up everywhere in Vrindavan, and they were also making a lot of money
yeah,
because of the Westerners.
yeah.
And they started rebuilding the temple here and there, and many places are refurbished because of Prabhupada and disciples, and because of Prabhupada.
Yeah. Yeah, Prabhupada is maintaining everyone, including the other matas, and the temples. You know. He's maintaining them. He's sending his devotees to them and money and
The problem they have was with water. Because if they drink water, any water particularly, they don't get sick. But Americans and Westerners, if they have no pills or they don't disinfect water, they get the dysentery like here.
Yeah.
They were not experienced.
Yeah.
When you go in hot countries, be it Amazon or Africa or India, you have to really have your filters and your things because you get sick mostly from the stomach and mostly from the water.
Yeah. Man has to be very careful. If you go to India, you have to be very careful what you eat, what you drink. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Lord.
Right.
Prabhupada.